My name is Sean Jones, and I'm here to talk to you about the Telecommunication Dispute Resolution Service. So hopefully I can give you a brief overview of what TDR is today and answer any questions you might have about how we can assist. So what is TDR? So we are a free to the consumer, that is an independent service to help consumers with complaints against their internet service provider, or ISP. We've been established through the Telecommunications Carrier Forum, and to borrow directly from their objectives on their website, they hope to actively foster cooperation among the telecommunication industry's participants and to enable the efficient provision of regulated and non-regulated telecommunications services. So hopefully we are currently an effective cog in fostering that cooperation. So we cover the vast majority of ISPs, which again is internet service providers in New Zealand, and our most recent statistics indicate that about 95% of consumers would be covered through our scheme. We cannot, unfortunately, help with complaints about companies who are not a member of the TDR scheme. So whereas with some of the other organizations it is regulated, with ourselves it is not. It is a voluntary scheme. Scheme membership is voluntary, but should they agree to be part of the scheme, they are then compliant under our code, the Customer Complaints Code. If you are interested in that, there's also on our website, or we can make that available to you. So here we see the majority of the current TDR scheme members. Full up-to-date lists are always available if you give us a call or on our website. If an ISP is not a member, one thing I can say is we will, even though we can't directly intervene in that particular instance, give them a call and see if they're interested in joining in future. And I would suggest either for yourself or if you're recommending for others, if you're switching provider or joining a new provider, do try and make sure they are a member of the TDR scheme. So TDR is available to all residential and small business customers. Corporate accounts are not something within our jurisdiction. That's roughly for a company with larger than 19-20 full-time employees. We are available all the standard sort of methods over the phone, through social media, on our website, and we can also be reached via fax, should you wish. Predominantly, we do receive our inquiries via phone or through our websites. Large proportion of that there. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in depth, but if you do have any general questions at all at any point, we'd always recommend giving us a call. So the TDR process. If a dispute, so customers need to have submitted a complaint to their provider before they come to us. We're not an extension of a contact center. So if you've not yet raised your dispute with your provider directly, it's important you do so with them formally, because otherwise we will look to refer you back, though we are quite happy to help with that communication. If you come to us first, we can register it and knock it back through to them, but you will need to at least give them an opportunity to receive that complaint. Once you have submitted a complaint, if the matter remains unresolved, TDR can step in and help. As we are an independent third party, we do initially refer the complaint back to the scheme member to see if we can facilitate with all parties a direct resolution where everybody is happy without it needing to go through a formal process. But should the matter at any time be determined as deadlocked, we can then look at escalating it through our next level. The next level necessitates both parties providing their perspective and any supporting information in writing. We will try to mediate a settlement with these written perspectives, but failing that, an adjudicator can issue a decision about the dispute. The decision is binding on the telecommunication company, not on the customer. If a customer is unhappy with the outcome of their complaint once it's gone right through our process, they can still look to take that to the dispute tribunal or through the court system. So before I talk in depth a little bit about some of the stuff we look at, I just want to briefly touch base on some of the things we are do not have jurisdiction to look at. So some common issues that people do call to see if we do handle that we are not able to assist with: equipment or software that's not supported by the telecommunication company. So if you've purchased something independently and it's just not something they can physically support, there's nothing we can do to make them support that. Network infrastructure. So ISPs do not have control over the physical infrastructure. Chorus would have that. So if you're looking for Chorus to expand the physical infrastructure in your neighborhood, that's not a complaint you can have against your ISP. 111 calls, Yellow Pages advertising content, domain names. There's a specific place you can go for that. Specific Privacy Act matters. Requests for information may need to go through the Privacy Commission. Complaints subject to legal action. If you're taking a complaint through the court system already, you can't also bring it through ourselves. And lastly, complaints that have already been right through our process. So here's a general indicator of the sort of complaints we get. You can see that the majority of these are billing issues, but I'll go into some more depth here. Recurring issues. Internet data and roaming charges is a big one. Agreements at the point of sale, or rather disagreements at the point of sale with your provider. Service transfers and connection delays, and moisture-damaged handsets, or any damage to a handset in general. So whilst earlier I said matters regarding the network provider can't be directly escalated to us, that is not to say there isn't instances where the network provider is directly involved. So looking at a couple of those there, the service transfers and connection delays, obviously that's going to involve the wholesale provider, and certainly is something that can come through our process. In all likelihood, the ISP will interact with those bodies directly when trying to resolve the matter with you. So I think we're about to go to questions. I wonder if I'm briefly just allowed to go over a couple of key questions that we've seen popped up at some of these other events, see if maybe we can proactively cross some things off, but I will let you guys have a chance to talk. So when can somebody refer to the TDR? Hopefully that was addressed, but as long as they have a billing relationship and they've complained directly with their provider in the first instance, they can come through to the TDR, and then anything we'll talk to you about to see whether or not it's something we can consider. What kind of information will you typically get if you contact us? So we're not an advisory service and can't give legal advice, but we are more than happy to talk to you in detail about certain complaints that have been through TDR. We have position statements and case studies on our website and can talk to you about those directly, about what might happen should you come through TDR's process. What kind of actions are taken? So through the first steps of our process, we try and resolve it for everybody. We are an independent third party, and we do reiterate that with the customer as well. We're trying to get an outcome for everybody that's going to be happy. But if it can't be done, we will proceed through to mediation and adjudication. And as I said, it is binding on the scheme member if accepted, and it could be any number of things. What kind of issues have we seen resolved in the past? Again, I'd really like you guys to have a look at our website or give us a call, because we can talk to you in depth about case studies that might match your specific instance. But yeah, otherwise it's very generalized. It can be such a wide number of things that TDR can consider.